So yeah, hello and welcome back to Live from the Hive with me, Katie Bessant. Today I'm joined by Sonia Aucott from Aucott Interior Design. Sonia, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, to start, do you want to tell the listeners a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, okay. I'm an interior designer and I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've got a very wide range of experience having worked with private clients. We've done hotels, hospitality, HMOs, good line and funeral directors as well. So we've got a really good broad experience in quite a few different sectors. I've had the business for about 13 years now, and we are currently pivoting into rural diversification, working with farms, vineyards, country estates, and equestrian venues to help them develop hospitality venues that's going to generate recurring sources of income for them.
Yeah, that's super exciting. We've chatted a little bit before the podcast about your new sort of venture, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So, if someone is just getting started, what kind of things should they be thinking about?
Okay, so first of all, what property do you already have? Do you have an existing building on your site that you're looking to convert, or do you have plans to develop something completely new? Um, and what type of property do you have? Is it on a farm? Is it a vineyard? Is it a country estate? Um, what about the heritage and vision this venue to represent? Have you and your family been on that estate for a long time? And do you want that heritage represented in the offering that you are providing for guests? Is that really important? Is that something that you can sell as a USP to them? And also, why have you decided to diversify into hospitality? What's inspired you to do it? Is it something you've always wanted to do? Do you need extra income? Yeah, all those sorts of things are important to consider.
Yeah, really good questions to ask yourself before you get started on a project with no, yeah, it's important to have those things in place and in your mind before you get started.
Yes.
Yeah, so once you've got that big sort of vision nailed, the next step is, I suppose, turning it into something more practical and taking the next step. So what do people need to be looking at then?
Well, overall, what kind of venue are you actually hoping to create? Is it going to be a cottage or a series of cottages which you can host guests in, so like an Airbnb? Type property, or is it a shepherd's hut, or is it more of a glamping offering? Or do you have a barn, for example, that you want to convert into an event space that can be used for weddings or corporate hospitality, that sort of thing? So the type of offering that you are looking to provide for guests is really important because that also then informs the next steps as well in terms of do you need to bring on another team, a design team, such as an architect, a planning or rural diversification consultant? Do you need to also speak to a builder, a contractor, or a heritage specialist as well? Who can help you and guide you with regards to what is allowable with that building, both structurally, ecologically, financially as well.
Yeah, and thinking about who actually you're trying to target with the end goal as well is pretty important, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So, who is your desired client? So, it's quite important to have a think about the type of client that you're looking to attract. So, are you aiming to, for families? Are you looking to support families, who are wanting to have a holiday away? Is it couples only? Will they bring a dog? Are you happy with them bringing pets along? Or is it something much bigger? So, for example, if you are creating an event space, are you looking at something that's going to be suitable for weddings or corporate away days, that sort of thing, team building events, or exclusive use hire for parties, celebrations, anniversaries, whatever it might be? So, really important to think about who your target market is, because that will then also inform the next steps.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Sonia, because that is something that I tell my clients and anyone that joins in with my challenges all the time. I probably say it every single day, thinking about who your target guest is, because it
Yes.
just shapes everything else, your social media content, your marketing, actually the practical what you put in your property and how you go about it. It's so important. So I'm really glad that you said that.
Yes, it really is. And then to think about then once you've got this property set up, or you've decided on who your client is going to be and who your favorite type of client is, how are you going to go about marketing them and how are you going to go about setting up the accommodation or the venue, whatever it is, for that type of person. So yes, that's really important as well.
Yeah, and operationally as well, thinking about how they use the property and how you sort of run it day to day. There's some sort of operational things that they need to think about as well.
Yeah, so then moving on, do you want to run this venue seasonally? Is it something that you will do, just be dictated by spring or summer? Is it something that you want to run all the way through the year? That will also have an impact on your bookings. But you also need to think about maintenance as well. So, will you close, say, January, February time and use that time for having a refresh, for redecorating or repainting or, re-landscaping outside or adding to your offering? So, you might not have everything in plan or set up from day one, but it might be something that you're then looking to develop as the years go on, which is also then going to be quite a good way to market your property as well. Because while you've got your initial offering set up and you're driving traffic towards that and generating income, you can then talk about what's coming next. It's like coming soon, we are having a new sauna put in or hot tubs, whatever it might be, which is a good way of getting people interested and signing up for notifications. So you can send them a newsletter and say, um, we've got this new offering, be the first to find out about it, sign up here. There could be an introductory discount once that new offering is opened up as well. So maintenance and development and new offerings are also important to consider as well. And also, will you self-manage the property or the venue, or is it something that you will need to look at in terms of hiring operational teams? So, if you're hiring a venue, do you want to employ a year-round chef and cooking and waiting team? Do you want to work with local catering suppliers and have seasonal staff that come in? If it's a combination, do you plan to do the changeovers yourself? So will you do all the laundry, or will you outsource that to a laundry company, or will you bring in staff as well that are going to do the changeovers and the cleaning for you? It's a lot of work. So these things are also very important to consider, both in terms of your time and your energy, but also what your budget will allow as well.
Yeah, exactly. Really important again to think about and get nailed before you get started. Um,
Yes.
and going back to the sort of the maintenance side of things, obviously we're entering the autumn, and a lot of owners during this period they do like to refresh their property a little bit, and maybe they're thinking that actually they haven't done any updates in quite a few years, and their property is getting a little bit tired. Are there any sort of recommendations that you have for how people can update and refresh their properties for the next season?
Yes, I mean, I think if you're doing holiday accommodation, for example, which I know the majority of your clients are, just to have a really good clean from top to bottom. Make sure that in the kitchens, all your appliances have been serviced and they are thoroughly cleaned inside and out. Same with your bathroom. Have you got any kind of like damp corners that need cleaning up? And does anything need repainting? A really good refresh of paint just does wonders for our space as well. Also look at the quality of all your furnishings as well. So if you've had a busy season, which is wonderful, but some things have taken, a lot of wear and tear, then it's important to make sure that they are up to standard for the next season as well. So whether that's furniture, whether that's bed linen, towels, are they all looking a little bit tired and can you refresh them? Then also seasonally, it's nice to think about what you could introduce. So obviously we're going to be coming up towards Christmas, dare I say it already, but people will be starting to think about bookings for Christmas. So can you provide them with a Christmas tree? Do you put any fairy lights up or Christmas lights up outside the property? All those things help to add, to make it cozy and And the other thing I would say is as well, when you have accommodation, do you change your bed linen in terms of like the tog of the duvets, going from summer to winter season? Do you put in extra blankets for them or additional throws and cushions that are going to make it cozy? Um, People will now be starting to think about using a wood burning stove or a real fire if you have one. So it's important to make sure that you've got seasoned logs, you're providing kindling, fire lighters, matches, just basic things like that, but making sure that it's all there ready, ready for your guests.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, sorry, a little pivot there, but I thought I had to ask it because that's something I get asked all the time. So going back to the operations side of things, obviously that all depends on, if you're just setting up on the development and
Yeah.
planning decisions. So
Mhm.
what kind of things do people need to be thinking about there?
Well, it depends on what condition the building is in already. If it is a little bit derelict, but it's something that you want to bring back to life, then obviously you will need to speak to a planning consultant and or an architect about that. You'll need to seek proper permissions in order to get that project off the ground. There are there have been changes to planning laws over the last couple of years that have come off the back of Clarkson's farm and drawing attention to, how difficult it is for farmers to do developments on their own land. So there were changes to Class P and Class Q with regard to developing existing properties on their land. So seeking professional advice on that, I would recommend, is really important. Then when you've got planning permission, if you need it, then could start consulting with local contractors. They often are quite busy, so you'll need to think about your timescale as well and make sure you have sufficient budget to allow for a contingency because you never know what's going to happen when you get on site. There could be issues with drainage, or access, things like that. That's all really important to consider. And I would always say, of course, that bringing an interior designer in at the very beginning of the project, alongside your architect and your construction team, is really important. We all work together to bring a cohesive project to life, and we all bring something slightly different to it. So we all look at it from different angles. So the earlier you can assemble your design team, the better, really.
Yeah, and let's talk about the interior design now, because of course the planning is crucial, but the interior design is kind of the fun bit and the little touches that guests actually really remember.
Yeah, it is. So if you are doing accommodation, it is actually classed as contract. It is classed as commercial use. So therefore, you will need to ensure that your furnishings, your fixtures, your fittings, and your equipment is all suitable for contract use. Unfortunately, you can't just go to somewhere like IKEA and pick up a sofa. You have to make sure that all the fabrics conform to the required British standards for flammability. And of course, that's the sort of thing that we can definitely help with. Also, when you're buying things like beds and sofas, make sure that you buy once and you buy well. Those are the things that take a lot of wear and tear, and people want comfort when they go away. And when they walk into a space, they want it to be better than what they have at home. It's got to be aspirational. So that all important. Wow, this is so beautiful. Look at this. And kids running from room to room, looking around, going, "Oh, wow, can we sleep in this bedroom?" And the surprises at every turn. So creating that wow factor is really important from the minute that they arrive and their journey through the property as well. So yes, definitely with sofas and beds, buy the best that you can afford. Definitely look at hotel quality mattresses, and mattress protectors, good quality pillows, duvets, and then high quality bed linen as well. Just adds that luxury feel. And also make sure that it lasts longer because obviously if you're changing over on a regular basis, it will withstand all those changeovers.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, I think guests are expecting just so much more, and actually, the holiday, we've spoken about it before on the podcast, but holiday cottages used to be everyone's seconds, and you'd make do, and maybe you'd even bring your own linen and towels. But now, actually, it's the complete opposite. People expect
Yeah,
better than their own home. So,
they
what do
do.
people do look at to achieve that?
Well, bathrooms are really important. So bathrooms really need to be beautiful, use high quality sanitary ware and hardware. Don't scrimp on the fixtures and fittings because they are getting a lot of use, but there are particularly German brands out there like Hansgrohe and companies like that that are really good because they are designed for contract use and they're typically put in hotels as well. So they will last a whole lot longer. Make sure that bathrooms are really spick and span, and non-slip surfaces. So, if you've got children or elderly going in there, that they're not going to fall. With your kitchens as well, make sure that they are also robust, and it might sound like a little thing, but make sure that you've got enough kitchen and crockery ware for them. So, for example, if you've got 4 guests or if you've got 10 guests, you need to make sure that you've got enough plates, bowls, knives, forks, spoons, mugs, glasses, all of that. So, your inventory is really important, and check it regularly as well, because it might be that somebody has accidentally gone home with something or something's got lost. But make sure that you check that inventory regularly to make sure that you've got enough, or if anything, you've had any breakages as well, and keep all that up to date and top quality. Cleaning as well, have a rigorous cleaning schedule. And make sure that that is followed to the letter, either whether you're doing that yourself or whether you are instructing cleaners or a company to come in and do it for you. Also, when it comes to furnishings, lighting is really important as well. So think about how you illuminate a space. Obviously, when you're coming into the building, say for example, guests arriving at night, you need to make sure that there is outdoor lighting so they can see their way to the door and they're not going to trip over. And then when they get in, that lighting is easily accessible. Is it on a sensor or can they turn it on at the door? And then also think about task lighting. So, for example, when you're in the kitchen and you're preparing meals, you want to know that you've got sufficient light to see what you're doing. But then in the evenings, when you cozy down to watch a movie, you've got the fire on, you might want to dim the ceiling lights and then just have table lamps around, which is going to provide a softer, warmer light. So it's just making sure that you're creating atmosphere, and that is all considered right at the beginning. Think also about the flow of the property. So ensure that the furniture is well spaced. Make sure that you have enough seats for all your guests as well. And make sure that there is a good flow from one space to another. So there are no trip hazards and it's suitable for children or the elderly. Or are you planning an accessible space as well? So for people who have a disability, are they coming in a wheelchair? Do they need sliding or pocket doors, or do they need wider openings to get into their bedroom? All of these things are also really important and should be discussed right at the beginning with your design team as well.
Yeah, the accessibility thing is becoming more and more popular, I think. I'm talking, yeah, again, a lot with a lot of clients who are creating a separate property
Yeah,
built with
yeah,
that in mind, either for elderly parents, as a sort of long-term plan, but also as a holiday let in the short term as well. So, uh,
definitely.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
yes. And interestingly, the return on investment, if you're providing an accessible property or a property that is accessible to disabled users, is really important. Typically, they tend to stay longer and they will bring their friends and family, and that they will spend more. And if they like it, then also they'll tell their friends about it, and they will keep coming back as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a good one. And it's funny what you said about the crockery and everything as well, because there's nothing worse than getting in a property and it's property for four. There's four of you, there's four mugs, and yeah, you've got to constantly wash up and it's
Yes.
just it's
Yeah.
just frustrating. You're on holiday.
Exactly, exactly. So think about the numbers. You don't want to be doing the washing up after every meal.
Yeah, yeah, agree. And of course you kind of done all of this, you've made an amazing vision, you've got the planning and you've done the development, you've sorted the interior design and the sort of guest experience, and you kind of made this amazing property, but if no one knows about you, you won't get booked. So we were going to talk a bit here about the branding side of
Yeah.
things. So what have you got to say about that?
Yeah, so obviously, if you've gone to the trouble of creating a really beautiful space that's unique and very different, You then want to make sure that you get your bookings in. So what do you do next? So have you thought about your branding? Have you thought about setting up a website? Have it professionally photographed as well. So, once an interior designer has been in, or we've been into a space, we've made sure that it's got fresh flowers and the styling is on point. So beautiful decorative accessories and artwork and mirrors. It's those finishing touches that really elevate a space. So when you're having them photographed, make sure that it is aspirational, that it really shows off the property to its best advantage and is inviting, because that's what you're going to put out on social media, and that will be what's going to tempt people in. Basically, provide as much information as you can as possible as well, in terms of how to get there, how to book, what facilities are available, what's also available in the local area. And then contact local partnerships as well. So could you buddy up with local suppliers? So for example, do they want to have a private chef come in? So that's something that you could arrange. Do you have contacts with local distilleries or brewers or vineyards as well, that you can organise packages of drinks for them to come in? Do you provide them also with welcome baskets? So again, connecting with local suppliers such as a butcher, or a local farmer who can provide you with ingredients for a delicious breakfast for their first morning. So all those touches are really important. And then start promoting it. Have a website, even if it's just one page initially. Start building momentum by setting up an Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn page, and start showing the journey of the development if you can, and building some excitement and interest around it, and letting clients know this is coming soon. Be the first to hear about our opening date. Offer an opening discount, for example. Anyone who books in the first 2 months gets a 10 or 20% discount, for example. So it's building that momentum, building that interest. And then when it goes live, obviously make sure that your booking systems are up to date, that it can cope with bookings coming in as well. Um, yeah, there's lots of things to consider.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, it's been fantastic having you on the podcast today, and I think that's given, yeah, anyone who's thinking about getting started, loads of things to be thinking about, to yeah, get set up and some questions to ask themselves before they get started. So yeah, thank you so much, Sonia. It's been great. Where can people find out more about you? And I also know you've got a very exciting event coming up. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we do. On Wednesday, the 8th of October, we are hosting an event at a place called Barnesgrove in Hampshire, which is a beautiful rural diversification venue. And we are hosting an event there, for anyone who is looking to set up a hospitality venue, whether they be a farmer, a vineyard, a country estate, or an equestrian venue, or indeed anyone who is new to hospitality, Airbnb. We've got a fantastic lineup of speakers. We've got a diversification consultant. We have an architect. We have a rural solicitors who can talk about the legalities and all the things that you need to consider for setting up your project. We've also got a company coming along called Tree Tents as well, who have a fantastic range of outdoor accommodation. And of course, I'll be there talking about interior design as well. There's going to be a whole range of service providers coming along, and we're hoping to basically provide clients with the information that they need to set up their hospitality business in the order in which they need it. So we'd love to see anyone there who can come along. As I say, it's Wednesday, the 8th of October at Barnesgrove in Hampshire, and the link will hopefully be on the 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 cover for this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, I'll put the link in the show notes if
Yeah.
anyone's interested. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So yes, that's it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sonia.